Cleveland Browns assistant GM is brutally honest about Shedeur Sanders' future and Dillon Gabriel being named QB2. Today was pretty much media day for the Cleveland Browns front office, man. A couple of guys came out and spoke to the media, and they were speaking very highly about Dillon Gabriel. They let it be known he is definitely QB2. He's better than Shedeur.
This was raw, unfiltered, and oozing with the type of swagger that makes NFL insiders sweat bullets while fans grab their popcorn like it's a blockbuster premiere. So what did Shedeur really say that's got scouts scrambling and Browns fans breaking into nervous sweats? Strap in, because this ride is about to get wild. See, Shedeur Sanders has this unreal talent for setting off alarms in NFL front offices without even touching the turf. The guy could stroll into a corner store, snatch up a loaf of bread, and suddenly half the league would argue if his grip strength proves he's draft ready. That's how deep the obsession runs, and this latest spark, it didn't even come from him. It came from a casual little comment by a Browns assistant that went nuclear in the headlines. And instead of ducking or hiding, Shedeur clapped back with what can only be called weaponized honesty. No filters, no PR polish, just straight fire. Because here's the thing about Shedeur, he's not your cookie-cutter college quarterback spitting out cliches about taking it day by day or just being grateful for the opportunity. Nah, that's not his style.
Obviously, I think overall as a player, I feel like I put in the work. I feel like everything I do, I try to do it to my best, and that's all I ask for. So I feel like everybody feels like, they should be on the team, and if you ask anybody on the team, would they feel like they belong, in their own eyes. So I feel like I do, but I'm my own player, I think about myself in a high regard, of course. So it's not my decision.
He looked at all that noise, rolled his eyes so hard they probably left burn marks, and fired back with words so sharp NFL execs nearly spit out their morning coffee. Forget the safe, boring answers. This was the real deal. This wasn't just raw. It was unfiltered truth so sharp, you could almost hear the Browns PR team screaming into a pillow, begging that assistant coach to vanish into thin air until the storm blew over. But before we unpack Cleveland's little oops moment, let's be real about why Shedeur Sanders even has the world on edge in the first place. This man isn't just catching hype waves. He built the board, designed the machine to make the wave, and then sold tickets to the show like the ultimate ringmaster. College football hasn't just embraced him, it's turned him into a walking headline factory. On the field, he's a surgeon with the football, slicing defenses apart with pinpoint passes while moving like he's already locked in for the cover of Madden 2030. Off the field, his swagger feels trademarked, with endorsement deals piling up before he's even had a chance to shake Roger Goodell's hand. And don't get it twisted, this isn't just good for a college kid. Stat-wise, Shedeur is smashing expectations like they were never real. Passing yards, ridiculous. Touchdowns, stacked. Composure under pressure, cold-blooded. And let's not forget, he's coached by none other than his pops, Deion Sanders, a legend who clearly raised his sons to mix elite talent with that magnetic charisma that makes sports networks drool. But fame like this always comes with a heavy tax. Every move is dissected, every eyebrow raise gets spun into a headline, and every single smirk sparks debates about whether he's destined to be the NFL's next MVP or the league's next cautionary tale. And that's exactly where this Browns assistant steps into the chaos. Now let's be real, the Browns aren't exactly the masters of subtlety. This is the same franchise that brought us the Johnny Manziel roller coaster, followed it with quarterback carousels that look more like circus parades, and still somehow keeps packaging hope like it's a discount item at the team store. So when an assistant coach from that organization opened his mouth about Shedeur Sanders, you just knew it was never going to end quietly. The assistant basically threw shade, hinting that maybe Shedeur isn't as NFL ready as people believe, that maybe, just maybe, he's just a product of his dad's coaching system or the hype train that's been barreling nonstop. Now, if that jab had been aimed at any other college quarterback, it probably would have been filed away as just another scouting note. But aimed at Shedeur? That's like tossing a lit match into a room full of gasoline and microwave popcorn. Instant chaos.
slap in the face to the Cleveland Brown fans and to the Sanders family, because for the simple fact, Shedeur was not given the same opportunity as Dillon Gabriel. It was displayed in front of the world when y'all put out the third string line for him and let Dillon Gabriel run with the twos. I don't give a damn how you spin it, what you say. He should have been given the same opportunity. If this was a true competition, and Shedeur truly had to earn everything.
Within hours, it wasn't analysis anymore. It was controversy. It was disrespect. It was a national talking point plastered across sports shows and timelines everywhere. And that's when Shedeur stepped into the ring. Because if there's one thing about him, it's this: he refuses to let anybody else narrate his story. He didn't duck, he didn't hide, and he sure didn't fall back on that tired no-comment card agents always love. Nope. He clapped back with brutal honesty, the kind of raw truth that made people wonder if he's secretly prepping a TED Talk called "Why I'm Better Than Your Favorite QB." Here's the beauty of it. Shedeur didn't even need to put on theatrics. He just dropped the truth, raw and unapologetic, with zero filter. He made it crystal clear that his future won't be defined by whatever an assistant coach mumbles into a microphone. His message: the NFL better prepare for him, or be ready to get steamrolled the second he shows up. And here's the twist. It didn't even sound arrogant. It sounded certain. That bone-deep certainty that makes you wonder if his DNA carries leftover strands of Deion Sanders' legendary prime confidence. This is where it gets bigger than just one comment. The NFL has always had this strange love-hate thing with confidence. If you're quiet and humble, you're called professional.
And I'm going to tell you why. I think he's being set up to fail. That's right, I'm going to say it. Okay. Here we are on national television, right? There's been 11 practices, if I remember correctly. He's been starting against, he's been playing against the third unit. He's fourth on the depth chart. And then suddenly you throw him into the start lineup, and he hasn't had any reps with the first team at all. Think about that. So you're just going to throw him to the wolves like that, huh? I mean, you know, if he had first team snaps in practice.
But if you show swagger and talk bold, suddenly you're either branded a locker room problem or crowned the future face of a franchise. It's all about one thing: winning. Think about it. Tom Brady had that cocky streak, but he stacked wins, so they called it competitive fire. Baker Mayfield had the same energy, but when he lost, it got labeled as immaturity. That double standard is insane, and Shedeur knows it. He knows every single word he speaks will get dissected like it's scripture from some lost gospel. But instead of dodging or sugarcoating, he's leaning into brutal honesty. And that's what makes this moment so powerful. He's not just defending his name, he's seizing control of the whole narrative. Suddenly, the conversation isn't about whether he's good enough. The real question becomes, are NFL teams ready for a quarterback who refuses to bow down and play the system's game? And you know who's secretly eating this up? NFL scouts. They'll never admit it, of course. They love acting like confidence is a distraction they want no part of. But let's be real. Deep down, they crave players dripping with unshakable self-belief. They're searching for the guy who can stroll into a locker room, stare down seasoned vets, and instantly make them believe a rebuild is possible. Confidence sells, and Shedeur is moving it wholesale. Meanwhile, Browns fans are stuck scratching their heads. Some are probably thinking, why did our assistant even open his mouth? Others are wondering if this little slip means Cleveland is already out of the Shedeur sweepstakes, assuming they were even in the race to begin with. And honestly, with the Browns' quarterback history, maybe that's not the worst thing, because if you're Shedeur Sanders, the last place you want to kick off your NFL story is in Cleveland, where quarterbacks go to die and jersey printers can't keep up with the turnover. But instead of letting doubt cloud the air, Shedeur grabbed the mic and basically said, "Relax, I got this."
Now it sounds like the Cleveland Browns are going to all but imprison Shedeur Sanders in the football sense of a very talented rookie quarterback who obviously needs reps, who needs an opportunity, and who now, barring some miraculous luck, will not get the opportunity to play in a single real game. I'm sure many around the NFL are celebrating as we speak. They are chuckling about this. Many in the NFL wanted to teach Shedeur and his daddy a.
That's the type of move that makes fans rally behind you and has sponsors practically drooling at the thought of their logo riding shotgun with his rising star. The wildest part, the Browns probably thought they were just doing routine football chatter, just another harmless comment tossed into the wind. But instead, they lit a fire that turned into a headline storm. But here's the thing with Shedeur. Nothing is ever harmless when it comes to him. Every single remark is a spark waiting to blow up. And this one just set off the most entertaining firestorm of the season. Honestly, it's poetic. The Browns, a franchise that's been dropping quarterbacks like hot potatoes for decades, are now the ones throwing shade at a kid who hasn't even thrown his first NFL pass. The irony here could be bottled and sold as a top-shelf luxury brand. Think about it. Cleveland is basically the NFL's haunted mansion for quarterbacks. Tim Couch, Brady Quinn, Johnny Manziel, and a whole graveyard full of broken careers are etched into history as cautionary tales. If there's a wrong way to handle a young quarterback, the Browns have not only tried it, they've mastered it and practically published the manual. And here's where Shedeur flips the script. He's listening, calculating, and then firing back with words sharp enough to slice through all the NFL's corporate doublespeak. He didn't hand them the boring, polished line of, "I'll let my play do the talking." Nope. He chose a new playbook. His mouth would talk now, and his game would back it up later. That's not reckless, that's strategy. Because every brutally honest word made him look more human, more real, and way more magnetic than the cookie-cutter parade of QBs who stand in front of cameras spitting out the same recycled lines. And this is where the NFL's psychology really shows. Teams love to act like they want humble, obedient quarterbacks who just shut up and throw the ball. But deep down, what they really crave is a leader with backbone, a guy who can take criticism, laugh it off, and clap back without blinking. Because if you can survive the media circus before the draft, you can sure as hell handle being down 4 points with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. In other words, if Shedeur can brush off a Browns assistant tossing shade his way, he can brush off just about anything the league throws at him. And here's the kicker. Every time people criticize his honesty, Shedeur doesn't shrink. He gets bigger. Fans who are sick of cookie-cutter, robotic athletes, they love it. People craving real personality in sports, they're eating it up like it's primetime entertainment. Even his critics can't look away, because the more they call him cocky, the more he proves he truly doesn't care. That kind of energy spreads fast. It's magnetic. It's the same energy that made Shedeur Sanders himself larger than life, more than just an athlete, but a brand and a movement.
That we all may never play on the same team again. And that's just the truth behind it. So I did everything in my power, to get out there and be ready for this week, one last time with this group.
And the real winners, the sponsors, Nike, Gatorade, Beats by Dre, you name it. They live for athletes who stir the pot and stay authentic. Every brutally honest soundbite out of Shedeur's mouth makes him more marketable, more relatable, and 10 times more entertaining than the polished clones the NFL usually rolls out. You can practically see the ads being storyboarded already. Shedeur staring down the camera, tagline flashing underneath, "Honesty wins." And just like that, boom, another multi-million-dollar endorsement locked down. But let's not get it twisted. This isn't just talk. Shedeur has the game to back it up. His stat sheet screams NFL ready. The arm strength, the accuracy, the decision-making, it's all there. Add in his leadership on the field and suddenly the conversation shifts from "is he ready?" to "which team is lucky enough to land him?" And when you mix all that with the media savvy Shedeur's already showing, You're not just looking at a draft prospect, you're looking at a brand, a leader, and a headline machine that can light up the sports world on command. Which brings us to the million-dollar question. How does all this affect his draft stock? Will NFL teams shy away from his blunt honesty?
On to Shedeur Sanders, the topic of conversation. Everybody, one of the worst games he's played. Obviously, he hasn't had a ton of games as a pro, but had a rough game. Took some bad sacks, and it's created a incredible discourse online. You're either on one side of the fence or the other. You're saying he didn't get a fair shake of it, or you're saying he played behind the same offensive line that Huntley played behind, who led a 2-minute drive for the game-winning touchdown, et cetera, et cetera. I think it's somewhere in the middle, as always. I think he can be a good quarterback.
Or will they recognize it for what it is? A sign of leadership and ice-cold confidence? The truth is, it all depends on one thing: winning. If Shedeur storms into the league and delivers, that same honesty suddenly gets rebranded as maturity, authenticity, and proof of leadership. But if he struggles, the narrative flips instantly. His confidence gets painted as arrogance. His swagger gets spun as the red flag that predicted his downfall. That's just how the NFL machine works. And it's exactly why this little clash with the Browns' assistant matters more than people realize. Because it's not just some petty spat, it's a crystal clear preview of the scrutiny Shedeur is going to face for his entire career. He'll be praised to the heavens when he wins, crucified when he loses, and dissected every second in between. The real question isn't whether he can survive it, it's whether he can flip it to his advantage. And judging by how he handled this firestorm, he's already got the formula locked. Shedeur Sanders isn't just prepping for the NFL draft, he's prepping for the NFL spotlight. He knows being a quarterback isn't only about tossing touchdowns, it's about steering narratives, thriving under pressure, and staying real in a world obsessed with conformity. And with that unfiltered clap back at the Browns' assistant, Shedeur just gave everyone a sneak peek of exactly how he plans to own it all. So now the whole conversation flips on its head. It's no longer about whether Shedeur Sanders is good enough to play quarterback in the NFL. It's about whether the NFL itself is ready for him. That's a way more powerful position to stand in, because once you flip the script like that, you're no longer just another draft prospect. You're a movement, a shift in how the game is seen. And that seems to be exactly what Shedeur is aiming for. Not just playing on Sundays, but rewriting what it means to be a quarterback in today's era. What do you think? Is the league ready for Shedeur Sanders? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. See you on the next one.